What's up guys, and welcome back to another Wynand Crypto video. What I'm about to show you could completely change everything for your portfolio. Make sure to watch this video completely until the end, because this market shift we're witnessing right now is setting up the perfect storm for altcoins, and XRP is positioned to absolutely explode. Don't click away, because what's happening behind the scenes will blow your mind. Alright XRP Army, we just witnessed something massive in the crypto space. Bitcoin just took a brutal dive from 111k all the way down to around 100k, and I know a lot of you are probably freaking out right now, but here's the thing, this is exactly what I've been waiting for. Now I want to talk specifically about altcoins today because, just like I've been telling you in my previous videos, June is the month we need to be laser focused on for alt season. Specifically, the tail end of this month rolling into early July. That's our golden window, and I'm going to show exactly why. The reason I've been so confident about this timing comes down to one crucial factor: Bitcoin dominance patterns. Right now, Bitcoin dominance is absolutely crushing it. We're talking over 64% and climbing towards 65%. That might sound scary for altcoin holders, but trust me, this is actually setting us up for something incredible. I know the recent sell-off across all markets has got people questioning whether alt season is even going to happen, and honestly, that's exactly the sentiment I want to see. When everyone's doubting, that's when the biggest opportunities emerge. Let me break down what's happening with Bitcoin first, and then we'll dive deep into what this means for XRP and other altcoins. Bitcoin bounced back to around 105k after that brutal drop to 100.4k. The key level I was watching is 104.6k. If we reclaim it and hold it, we're looking at a potential massive reversal. This weekly candle close is going to be absolutely critical here, and I will keep you updated as we get closer. Check this out. This 7-day chart is showing us some beautiful reversal action in real time. This is exactly the kind of setup that gets me excited for what's coming next. Now let's talk about what you really came here for, the altcoins. I've been tracking XRP, HBAR, ADA, and SUI, and I want to give you the real talk on what's happening. XRP has been doing exactly what I predicted. It's been ranging and consolidating for months now, even since January. This isn't boring sideways action. This is XRP coiling up like a spring ready to explode. The beautiful thing about XRP compared to coins like HBAR is that XRP is actually holding significant support levels while going sideways. HBAR, on the other hand, is stuck in a downtrend, just consolidating within that trend. Look at this comparison. When we zoom out to the all-time charts, both ADA and HBAR show similar patterns. That massive run-up followed by the sell-off, then sideways trading since around March. But XRP's structure is way more bullish. SUI is a bit different since it's newer, but it's also trapped in that same downtrend pattern, waiting for that explosive move upward. Here's the brutal truth I need to share with you. These altcoin charts are not going to break out until we see Bitcoin hit new all-time highs, while Bitcoin dominance starts dropping. That's the secret sauce. Even during Bitcoin's recent all-time high run, Bitcoin dominance didn't drop at all. That's why altcoins stayed absolutely flat. This is crucial. Watch this. Bitcoin dominance has been rock solid over the last 30 days, but here's where it gets interesting. We're approaching a massive key level that could change everything. Bitcoin dominance is sitting at roughly 65% right now, but it's creeping towards a 66 and 67% zone. That's the sweet spot where historically we see major spikes and then significant sell-offs. Let me show you this historical pattern. Going back to 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021, every time we hit these levels, we get explosive moves in the opposite direction. We're getting dangerously close to that trigger point right now. But what could be the catalyst that sends this market absolutely parabolic? Let me tell you about some huge developments happening with central banks that nobody's talking about. This just dropped. President Trump just announced he's going to name the next Fed chair very soon, but that's not even the biggest news. Trump is absolutely furious that Jerome Powell hasn't been cutting rates, especially when the ECB has been slashing rates left and right. This led to Trump making this incredible statement. He called the Federal Reserve a disaster and demanded a 100 basis point interest rate cut. Can you imagine? That would be absolutely massive for crypto. Check out this Truth Social post. Trump posted, "Too late at the Fed is a disaster. Europe has had 10 rate cuts. Now realistically, I think we're looking at 25 basis points, not 100, but even 25 basis points would be incredible rocket fuel for our markets." Speaking of Europe, the ECB just cut rates on June 5th by 0.25 percentage points. Their inflation is sitting right around their 2% target, which is exactly why rate cuts make perfect sense. Look at this headline. Everyone's roasting Jerome Powell in the comments, and honestly, they have every right to. Why haven't we cut rates when it makes so much sense? But here's where things get absolutely insane. The M2 money supply just hit an all-time high on June 2nd. We're talking 21.86 trillion. This chart will shock you. The EU has exploded their M2 money supply by almost $117 billion since the new year, and they're sitting at 15.7 trillion. This is what happens when you cut rates. The money printer go brrr. Is this good for fiat currencies? Hell no, but it floods the market with liquidity, and crypto thrives on liquidity. Every major economy has been pumping their M2 money supply, except for the US, which has been relatively stable, but we're about to change that in a big way. The US has actually printed over $306 billion since the beginning of the year. That's more than double what the EU printed. This correlation is mind-blowing. If rate cuts happen, our M2 supply is going to absolutely explode upward. This would be the rocket fuel Trump was talking about because liquidity would flood the markets. Bull cycles run on liquidity expansion, bear cycles happen when liquidity contracts. Thomas Ferrer shared an incredible chart showing that if Bitcoin follows the M2 supply pattern, we could see Bitcoin hit 160k, maybe even close to 170k. Look at this projection. Now, I don't think we'll follow it perfectly. When M2 hit recent highs, Bitcoin should have been over 120k, but it actually sold off instead. But I absolutely believe we'll hit 150, 160k on Bitcoin. That's the key target zone. But here's the beautiful part. When Bitcoin explodes higher and when rate cuts start flowing in June and continue through the rest of the year, altcoins are going to absolutely ballistic. This brings us back to my original thesis. End of June. Beginning of July is when altcoins are going to bounce back in a massive way. That's when alt season officially starts. I think this entire market pumps higher all the way through the end of this year, possibly into early 2026. During that time, I will be taking profits strategically while keeping some moonbags for the really explosive moves. This market is about to erupt in ways we haven't seen before, and it's all going to be accelerated by what the Fed does this month. Even if the Fed doesn't cut rates this month, I still expect this market to wake up in a huge way. We're already seeing nice bounces across the board. Altcoins are looking decent, not incredible yet, but they're consolidating beautifully. We might see a little more pain if Bitcoin decides to chop around more, but if Bitcoin ranges while working toward new all-time highs, altcoins might stay in the backseat until Bitcoin dominance finally tops out and starts dropping. Here's what to watch for. If we see more choppy action and Bitcoin retests some lower levels, altcoins will get hit hard. But if we range and work toward all-time highs while Bitcoin dominance stays this elevated, altcoins will wait for their moment. The key is watching for Bitcoin dominance to officially top out and start dropping. When that happens, altcoins, especially XRP, are going to absolutely explode. And you guys, I have a special trick for you, which nobody seems to be using, and I cannot wrap my head around why, because if you sign up through my link down in the description onto the BTCC exchange, you get a 10% deposit bonus, and now stay with me here. Now here comes the important part. If you have any trading capital on any other exchange and you move it to your newly created BTCC account, you get, on top of your capital, you moved another 10% extra trading capital. As an example, so if you move or deposit 100k to your account, you get 10k for free. I'm not kidding. I really don't understand why nobody's doing this. To me, it really seems like people sometimes are too lazy or just don't like free money. I mean, like, I cannot make that account for you. You will need to do that yourself, alright? So let's jump back into the video. XRP Army, this is the setup we've been waiting for. The pieces are falling into place perfectly. Rate cuts potentially coming, money supply expanding, Bitcoin dominance approaching critical levels, and altcoins coiled up like springs ready to explode. If this analysis helped you understand what's really happening in this market, smash the like button right now. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on because I'm going to be covering every single development as this unfolds. Drop your XRP predictions in the comments below. Where do you think XRP is headed when alt season kicks off? Are you ready for what's coming? And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Thank you very much for watching. Wynand Crypto, out.